Top Secret First Edition is the game we've been covering on our classic tabletop RPG Fridays. And we're going to get into it once again today because it is Friday. For those of you who are coming back to the channel, what's up? Especially to my LEET Squad, what up? And for the rest of you, maybe this is the first time that you've come to the channel, then let me welcome you. This place is RPG Elite. What that means is that it's a place where I focus on putting the RP back in the RPG, and I do this by giving you tools, tips, tutorials, and real talk, like uncomfortable talk, about the RPG space and culture. And I do that because I want you to have a more immersive and enjoyable tabletop RPG experience. Getting down to the wire here, we've got probably about a month or less in Top Secret before we move on to another game. Now, for those of you who may not know what I do here on the channel, every Friday is Classic Tabletop RPG Friday. And on that day, we do deep dives into some of these classic games. Now, what I mean by classic is a game that is 20 years old or older. So we're talking back in the Dizzy for those of us who have been around for a little minute. Now, I can't cover every game. That's ridiculous. But I try to cover games that I think you guys might be interested in, or games that you have never heard of from back in the day. And sometimes it's just more of a introduction for you so that you can maybe do your due diligence if you might be interested in something later on down the line and doing something a little different with your group, maybe even for a one-shot. You never know. Now, Top Secret First Edition, that's just hard to get a hold of. This is one of those classics that's hard to get a hold of. You can't get it like at Drive-Thru RPG or something like that. So you're just gonna have to go out and search for it or buy it on eBay or something like that. It's one of them classic, crunchy, it's just kind of one of those series that's more for nostalgia's sake. Well, after we get into today's video, which we're going to be talking about combat from vehicles. I say it like that on purpose because it's not vehicle combat, it's combat from vehicles. You know what I'm talking about as you get further into the video. And then on the other side, I have the question of the vid. Let's roll into this right now.
High-speed chases are a staple of espionage tabletop RPGs, and most movies have multiple scenes involving them. Now, surprisingly, Top Secret 1E has no mechanics for high-speed chases. However, it does have mechanics for vehicle combat or fighting from a vehicle or shooting from a vehicle specifically. So these mechanics are pretty straightforward, but we'll jump into a scenario to see how this works, and we'll work our way through it step by step. The first thing we need to do is to calculate the speed of the vehicles that are involved. So if we go to our vehicle movement table, you'll see that everything is given a speed, 1 in miles per hour and 1 in feet per turn. Now the feet per turn is at the max speed. So for example, here, a domestic 4-passenger car going at 110 miles per hour would move at 810 feet per second. But we have to break that down into phases, which means we have to divide 810 by 5. That equals around about 162 feet per phase. If speeds are lower than max speed, which they probably more than likely will be, all you have to do is simply Google it. They have a miles per hour to miles per feet calculator. And in this scenario here, so we have this Audi A8 coupe, and it's moving at 69 miles per hour, which is how it's moving here at 20 feet per phase. This green Blazer back here is moving at 62 miles per hour. Means 18 feet per phase. And all you have to do to figure that out is just plug those numbers in. Attacking from a moving vehicle attaches a modifier to the hit depending on the speed of the vehicles. If we look at the to hit determination table, this is going to come into play because you have vehicular movement here. So since both of these vehicles are moving, they would both have a -10 from whoever is shooting out of the vehicle. But look at this little added extra right here. It says plus -1 per miles per hour of speed. So they would get a -69 and a -62. Well, nobody has a to hit that's that high, which means that no matter who is shooting out of either vehicle, they only have a 5% chance because of the rule of 5, right? The 5% rule. They only have a 5% chance to hit one another in this vehicle, unless you're using the optional rule of called shots where you're trying to hit something in particular. It's going to be a hard sell to hit anyone or even the vehicles themselves. If we go back to the to hit determination table and we look at the movement of -1 per miles per hour of speed, what I would suggest is to take the difference between them and add that as a modifier. So in this case, if you've got one that's going 62, another going 69, then you add that 7 miles an hour on there, but you only do it once. You don't do it for each vehicle. And that would be a -17 for each of them, which means they pretty much have a shot at making a shot. Shooting combat from vehicles is the same as normal combat. Modifiers for movement, range, those are applied as normal. However, there's a different effect based on what is rolled when you hit the vehicle. These effects are listed on what I call the vehicle bullet effect table, but that's not what they call it. They call it the bullet use against vehicles table. Y'all got to come up with something a little bit better than that. And as you can see here, there are several columns. So some of these are self-explanatory. We're going to go through these and look at each one so we know exactly what's going to go down if someone happens to hit a vehicle. So the first one is no damage. And this is talking about land, water, and air vehicles. So there's no damage, 1 through 60 for land and water, and 1 through 75 for vehicle. So most of the time, you're not going to be doing much damage. Reduced speed, that's self-explanatory. It reduces the speed by 50% of whatever it was that they were going at. Begins diving. This is only for air vehicles. So let's look at the specifics here. If you roll an 81 to 85 for some kind of aircraft, you then roll 1d10. And if you roll 1d10, there's going to be different determinations based on what you roll. So a 1 through 5 is going to be parachuting to safety is the only chance that any passengers in that aircraft have of survival. The vehicle is going to be destroyed. Now, the administrator should put a time limit on when the aircraft will crash. They've only got 2 turns. They only got 3 turns. They need to get it together and get out of there and find, whatever parachutes right now. If they roll a 6 through 8, then the vehicle can be guided to hit a target on land or sea. Both the vehicle and the passengers will be destroyed. And if they roll a 9 or a 10, then the vehicle can make a safe emergency ditch or landing. And in this case, you have to refer to the sinking or will sink rules, which we will get into in one moment. The next column here is loss of control, and it has a similar mechanic. You roll 1d10 if you roll in there, and you have certain things that show up as a result. Rolling a 1 or 2, the engine stops in the vehicle, slows down to a complete stop. If this is an aircraft, then guess what? They begin to dive. They roll a 3 through 8. The passengers who are in the vehicle have to escape before the vehicle crashes. The administrator should give a certain amount of phases, again, or turns for the passengers to get out before the vehicle is destroyed. And if they roll a 9 or 10, Whoever is driving has regained control of the vehicle, but the speed has now been reduced by 50%. Now, will sync is going to happen in just a couple different situations here. Now, they have it specifically for a water vehicle. However, if you were in a dive in an aircraft, remember, if you ditched, then you are going to go under the will sync effects. Let's go ahead and look at what will happen if you are starting to sink. If you roll a 1 through 5, the passengers can board and attach the rescue craft or cling to something floating in the water. Roll a 6 through 7, an animal will attack that is in the water. It has a 50% chance of death unless they are rescued within 10 minutes. Now, obviously, if there are no animals in the water that can attack, then the GM has to come up with something original, some kind of other danger. You roll an 8 through 9, there's no buoyant support, and there is burning gasoline on the surface of the water. Now check this out. It's an 80% chance of death.
Emotional damage.
Oh, wow. That's bad. And if you roll a 10, then it's the same as rolling an 8 or 9, except non-swimmers will drown unless they're rescued within 5 minutes, and swimmers will drown unless rescued within 5 hours, which is actually better than 8 and 9. I don't know. I probably would switch those two, but that's just me. And last on the list is explodes. So if an air or land vehicle explodes, then everybody in the vehicle dies. Okay, that's just the way that it is. No use in putting them through the pain of trying to recover from something like that, I guess. So everybody dies. Now, if a water vehicle explodes, then the vehicle is destroyed and the passengers will undergo the will sync result. So you have to roll 1d10 and then apply the will sync effects.
Now you may have noticed that I didn't cover every single column, and that's because I just wanted to cover the columns where you had to do those little extra mechanics, the 1d10 die roll stuff. A lot of them is just self-explanatory. And also, you got to use some common sense when you're using this. I mean, of course, let's say that you roll something and it says that the vehicle is going to a dive, okay, and you have an airplane. Yeah, that's kind of hard if the airplane hasn't left the tarmac. So yeah, just use a little bit of common sense when it comes to that. If you like this video today, then go ahead and do me a solid. Do a brother a solid. Pass on a little bit of YouTube algorithm love and crush the like button. Also, hey, if you want to stick around, then you go ahead, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And if you really want to get down and dirty, I mean, you in it to win it. Understand what I'm saying? You go ahead and become part of the LEET Squad. Down in the description below, the first link that you're going to see, it says LEET Squad sign up. It's going to take you to a landing page. There you will have the opportunity to put your name and your email in, and then after you do that and hit that blue button, you will become part of the LEET Squad, automatically entered into our monthly giveaway, get some behind the scenes content that I don't have here on YouTube, and you'll just be in the know. And as we grow, we will grow together, and there'll be some more perks and things that I may add down the line in the future. All right, y'all, let's get to the question of the vid. We've been talking about vehicles. So let's dream a little bit. All right, so if you are an agent, first, what type of vehicle would you like to specialize in? So when I talk about type, talk about land, water, air, okay? Then what particular model would you want to specialize in operating? Go ahead, let me know. Comments down below. Dream a little bit. Come on, dream, 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 dream. All right, that's enough. Brothers, got to do my snaggle puss.
So exit, stage left.
Hey, if you got a session this weekend, then happy gaming. I hope it is an RPG Elite session. And if you want to get into couple more videos on this top secret thing, then go ahead right there. There's a few more, but I gotta get out of here. God willing, you're gonna see me next week. So, peace. 5,000 leets. A brother is definitely. Oh, he out.